Okay, so I've been using this Chromebook for quite a while now, and not too long, maybe a month or so. And these are my thoughts. So first of all, let's go over the Chromebook itself. On the outside, you do have that USB Type-C connector here, and you can charge it here or on this end where you actually have the LED where you can charge it. So you can charge it on either port, which is really cool because if you don't want your cord sticking out of the right side, you can have it sticking out of the left side. So I like that. Now, I think I mentioned before that the build quality on this is not quite the build quality on my previous HP model. But the benefits on this are going to allow me to turn a blind eye to that. So I really take care of my gadgets, so hopefully this is not going to get damaged, but who knows. As you can see, I removed one of the stickers. I still have to remove this one. I don't know why I haven't. Of course, I'll leave the Intel sticker on there. One of the benefits of this Chromebook versus the other Chromebook are the speakers. The speakers are right up here in this grill area, and the quality of the speakers is much better. The speakers on the older model were under here, and they were used to bounce off of whatever platform you had the notebook on or Chromebook on. But having the speakers pointing pretty much towards you gives you a little bit better sound, so that's benefit number one. Benefit number two is the fact that you can run Android apps on here. And we're going to go through some of them in a minute. Just note that some Android apps are not going to work on this, so know that out of the gate. Now, I'm somebody who's not huge into apps, but I do like the availability to run apps on this device here. So for me, it sort of negates the need for a tablet. Of course, I'm really not a tablet person at the moment. I do have an Amazon Fire tablet, but that's for another video. So the screen does go 180 degrees back. I always like to do this when I show or do a review on a laptop. I don't find that I ever use it like that, but there was a time when I'd have this, I might be laying down and I'd put it on my knees. My knees would be up where I'd be laying down, and it kind of is a good angle, but I don't really use that way anymore. The touchscreen is responsive. I tend to still just use the Chromebook as a Chromebook, and I don't use the touchscreen unless I think about it or unless I'm using Android apps. So we're going to go into the Google Play Store. You'll see that you do have all of the Android apps that you would be accustomed to. I've put a couple of games on here, and just to test it out. Again, I'm not a huge app person, but I did want to see how they worked on here. So let's X out of that. Let's go down here, and let's see. We have some apps here. Now, Battleship is a game I wanted to try on here, and actually the form factor of a laptop is very much like the Battleship game itself. But it doesn't work on this Chromebook, or at least the last time I checked it. Obviously, you're seeing the boot up screen here, but it kind of just hangs here. If you were using this on an Android app or an Android device as an Android app, this would already start with music, and you'd have one of the commanders up here. I've never gotten this to work as of yet. However, let's see, let's X out of that. However, Clue works, which is another Hasbro game. So you do get the orientation that you would on a cell phone. So you get the not the landscape, but you get the portrait orientation on this. So I don't know if I have the sound turned up. I do. With these mobile type games, I tend to turn the sound off or down because it's kind of obnoxious. But you can run this just like you would run this on your Android device. So you can play online, single player, whatever, play with friends. It's pretty cool. I played it a couple times. This is a gamer tag I did not choose, Goofy Dryad 154. So if you do want to play me on Clue and I'm online, feel free to play me in a game. So let's see if we can get out of this here. Let's go back to another game. So let's go to Scrabble. Scrabble's a different developer making this game here. This one I know I have the sound turned down on, at least for the music, because it's a little bit distracting. But plays like you would play this on an Android device. So it's just taking a little bit of time to load up everything here. I have a couple of games going. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've been on, so maybe the person that I was playing against bailed on me. But let's see, create a new game. Okay, pull down to update, so maybe this needs to be updated. So there we go, refreshing games list, there we go. So, I was kind of on an angle, so I wasn't reading it properly. But playing here against a guest. So far I'm winning, which is good. Of course, I'm hit or miss on Scrabble. But there you go. So you would just, play this as you would. I'm not really putting a word here, but just showing you how it works. So it's very responsive. I've really enjoyed playing Android games on this device here. So let's back out of that and go back into, I don't know, something else. Let's see what we've got on here. I know I have PUBG on here, which I'm not a PUBG player. I'm really not into online multiplayer games for the most part. I will play them, but I'm not huge into them. So let's try PUBG Mobile here. This one I found takes a little bit of time to load up. I've only played it once on here, and didn't do much for me, so I just put it on here for the purpose of this review, and I will be deleting it once I'm done with this video, basically. But it does take a little bit of time to load it up. I don't know, I don't have a frame of reference if that's typical when you have this on an Android device. I know PUBG is a game that can tax an Xbox One. So, having it on mobile, I would say, judging by what I've used on this device already, the games like Scrabble and Clue, the performance is right there that you would have with a normal Android device, a capable Android device. But something like this, I think it just takes time to load the game into RAM. So, there we go. PUBG Corporation. Great. New versions available. So why don't we update this? Okay, so the app is updated. Let's load it up here. So as this loads up here, my impression of PUBG Mobile on this Chromebook thus far is that it's kind of shoehorned onto mobile. Now I know that when they ported PUBG over to the Xbox One, even the Xbox One had issues with frame rate and whatnot. Now, I don't really play this game, so I don't know if they fixed those frame rate issues on an Xbox One, but it's a PC game that they've scaled down, basically, in this case, to a mobile game. So, it's kind of shoehorned in there. So, it's to be expected that it might choke some of these devices. And my impression thus far of PUBG Mobile on this device is that it does overwhelm the device. I don't know if that's from, kind of bad coding on their end. It would be suggested that that's the case, or if it's just the hardware can't handle it, or maybe it's a combination of the two. I don't know, but I find that it's sort of a hit or miss kind of situation here. So here's my guy here. He's in his underwear. They have a Halloween event right now at the time of filming this video. It's a Saturday before Halloween, and I have full intention of putting this out before Halloween. So it's 2018, of course, is when this video is being filmed. So I really don't know a whole lot about this game because I've only played it once on the Chromebook here to try it out. I do have a gaming PC I could play it on, but it's just not a game that really appeals to me too much. I do play some online multiplayer games, but I don't know, this one hasn't grabbed me and I haven't had the time. So anyway, let's start this up. As you can see, the touchscreen is really responsive on this device. This app, though, seems to be hit or miss. It does choke the device from time to time, and then sometimes it runs fine. So, of the apps that I've shown you thus far, obviously Battleship is not something that works. Scrabble works flawlessly. Clue works flawlessly. Obviously, I didn't take you too much into Clue, but just trust me that everything is as you would expect on a tablet or on a phone. Apparently, we're waiting for some matchmaking here for them to find my opponents, which I'm going to be easy pickings in this game. As you can see, it does, like, the sound dropped out a little bit there, so it's not something that runs very smoothly on this device, but it is playable from time to time. I wouldn't recommend it if you're somebody who's really into PUBG. I would say go with a different device because it's not running well on this. Now, I don't have any perspective if it runs well on any mobile device. If you do have perspective, though, I'd like to hear about it. If you have really good experience with PUBG Mobile, let me know in the comments down below what device you're using and what your experience is with it. And even if you're not having good experience with it, I'd like to know too, and what kind of device you're using. So we're going through another loading screen here. Again, my impression is that this is a very heavyweight app, having to do every trick in the book to get it to run on mobile. So like I said, it's probably my perception of this is a case of trying to get this to work on hardware that maybe isn't meant for it, and just judging by the track record, it does seem like I'm just repeating myself here, but I'm kind of trying to fill time here. It does seem like the app maybe isn't as elegantly written as it could be. So I would say it's probably a combination of hardware and coding as to why it's... this is not an experience I would want to be playing. It's been it's taken quite a bit of time to get this to load up. If this was my only way to play this game and I was really a fan of it, I probably would put up with this. But I'm somebody with not a lot of free time, and I'm already just filming this. Trying to get this to run properly is a little bit of too much time for my liking. So this is the parachuting scene where you're going to parachute down. You can see that the frame rate is not that great. Of course, I know that that's what the Xbox One originally had problems with PUBG. I think it was maybe a year ago or something that it came out on the Xbox One. So there's 31 players in the cabin. Let's jump out of here and get this thing rolling. So here I am in my underwear and no shoes and a parachute. So you can release the parachute there. You can move where you want to go, so you can see these online controls or on-screen controls. For the online game, might as well pull the parachute. The controls, I don't know if you can control it after you've pulled the parachute. I might have pulled it too early. No, you can control it. So you can see that it does work, but in an online game like this, where you really want to have good reflexes and whatnot, you don't want any lag at all, and you're seeing lag here. Now, my internet is really, really high quality, high speed, and I'm literally, obviously I'm doing wireless here, but I am literally about 7 feet from my wireless router. So this is not a situation where I have to worry about my internet speed. It's a situation of just how the app runs on here. So you can punch, you can, I think, jump, can shoot. I don't think I have a gun though. So these are the there we go. So you can see that it does run. And like I said, that parachuting sequence is the thing that I think causes the most problems. But it is playable here, as you can see. Just as I say that, you get a little bit of a lag. So I really don't know. Can I look? Yeah, okay. So you can control, just like you would with a dual analog stick. I'm running towards some sort of building here. Obviously, it works. The device itself, as you can see, the touchscreen is really responsive. So that's good. I just don't think that this app is something that I would be able to put up with. But as you can see, it runs really well. And to have this running on a Chromebook is really interesting because, you know, I had the first Chromebook, the CR48. And, you know, you think of a Chromebook, oh God, somebody's after me. So you think of a Chromebook as I'm going to get killed before I even get to this building here. But you think of a Chromebook as sort of a, you know, a web surfing device. And let's see if I can get in here. You think of it, you know, not really as a gaming device, at least I don't. So it's kind of cool to be able to play, you know, this kind of game on here. But let's see. I know I'm not being very adept here. If this was just me playing this, oh God, where am I going to turn around here? Somebody's going to get me. There we go. He's going to get me. Oh, this is brutal. Still not dead. That's crazy. Can I jump out the window? Ooh, I got a gun. How am I killing him? This is nuts. How did I kill him? That is crazy. Is it just my lag? That is nuts. How did I do that? I don't know. How do I pick this up? I don't know what I'm doing here. So clueless on this game. But anyway, so I just wanted to show you PUBG Mobile on the Chromebook. It works. It's pretty responsive. There's definitely lag going on here, and it's something that I wouldn't be, you know, playing, but it works, in case you're curious. So, let's get out of here. That guy's never going to get revenge on me. I don't know how to get out of this game here, but alright, there we go. Let's X out of the game. And one last game to show you is, what is it, Tekken, right there. This is another game that takes a long time to load up. It is much more playable than PUBG, though. So it's you don't have the jankiness maybe that you find on the PUBG game, and that's maybe why I was able to get that guy before he got me. I don't know. But or maybe it was because I had a sniper rifle or something. I don't know. I don't know what was going on there. But Tekken is an interesting kind of game. It's not something. Again, this is going to be something that I'm going to be deleting right after this video because PUBG and PUBG is not my style of game. Tekken, I used to love fighting games. I don't really get into them much anymore. But if I was going to play it, I'd play it on a console. But it's interesting to see it in a mobile form like this, and but it's something that I'm not going to be, you know, keeping up with. All right, so daily rewards, 4 days left. Now this is pretty loud, so I'm just going to lower the volume here. But that gives you, you know, this is going to give you an idea of the quality of the speakers. You know, I'm not an audiophile, so I'm not going to be able to tell you, oh, you know, this is excellent quality speakers. I don't expect excellent quality. What I expect is volume. I want to have, you know, a loud experience. I don't want to have a Chromebook that you can't hear. That's, you know, probably the worst thing you'd want to have on a laptop like this. But for me, the sound is, like I mentioned before, an improvement on the previous Chromebook, and you get a lot of volume out of it, and it's not muddy or anything like that, so I'm sure there's much better speakers out there, but for the package that I have here, it's pretty much what I want out of it. So I don't really know what's going on here. I'll claim the rewards here. And again, I'm just going to be deleting this like I'm going to be deleting PUBG, so it's not something that really even matters, but might as well grab all this stuff. And again, this is just to show you guys. So let's see, how do we get out of here? Back it up. So I just want to, well, let's see what this is. Okay. So let's just fight here. Now, you use on-screen prompts for this, or on-screen swipes, and then you can use cards and whatnot. So, let's see, featured act, difficulty easy. Yeah, I mean, let's do this, I guess. So, let's begin. I played a little bit of this, and when you defeat, characters, you are able to get new characters. So, let's go there. Autoplay, we'll learn from your previous inputs. Alright, that's interesting. So again, this is not something that's my wheelhouse. But, one thing I found, because I'm not really an app guy, I'm not a guy who plays a lot of games on my phone, but one thing I found with these mobile apps, it reminds me a lot of an arcade. Just a lot of loud music, constant noise going on. But, okay, so you see here, the frame rate could be a little bit better. I don't remember how to play this, unfortunately. I know you can play these cards here. And they're special moves, but you only get them at certain times. So, there we go. So you do certain swipes and whatnot. The left hand moves you, and then the right thumb swipes are how you actually throw your punches. I'm probably going to lose this even on an easy because I haven't played this in probably a month. Let's turn this down a little bit. Okay, I took him out. But not a lot of skill involved there. But with the left thumb, you're moving him around, back, forth, up, down, whatever. And then, the right thumb is where you do these different swipes, and that's how you do your maneuvers. So, as you saw, runs much better than PUBG, but still loss of frame rate on here. So if you play Tekken, just like with PUBG, if you play Tekken on your mobile phone and you find that the performance is flawless, I'd like to know what kind of device you're using. If you're finding similar performance like I'm finding here, I'd like to know as well. But we'll do one more match just so, I can kind of maybe get my feet under me and remember how to play this game. But and see if I can do a little bit better and give you a little bit better idea of how it runs. But the whole point of all this is that you can run Android apps on your Chrome device. Now, this has been the case for at least I want to say at least a year or two at this point. A lot of things have happened with this channel in that period of time, and we're ramping things up here again. But I wouldn't know had I been on top of things with Chromebooks and touchscreen Chromebooks, and when you could put Android apps on them. But I just pretty much want to show you what it's like on this device here. So let's get into another match, and let's do this guy over here. Let's fight. So I'm going to kind of be quiet, and I'm going to crank this up here so you can hear the game here.
I hope you're ready. Fight. You lose. And wait.
Alright, so that's the first time I've ever lost in this game here. I'm used to the 2 out of 3 battles in fighting games, but so there you go. it works on here. Obviously, as you can see, a little bit of a loss of a frame rate, but it works much better than PUBG. So let's see if we can get out of the app itself by swiping down. Generally, you reveal the controls there because you don't have the normal home button and whatnot that you would have on an Android device. So you can see that it plays Android apps on here, which is very cool. And for someone like myself who doesn't really use a lot of Android apps, it's just what I need. Anything else I would use my phone for. I look forward to some of the Android messaging apps that are going to be put on there. I know in the development build of Chrome OS, you can already use the Android messaging app on there, but not in the retail build at this time. So typically I don't really go into that until I don't like a half-baked, unless I would test it out. I don't want a half-baked program. I want the final release on it. So that I find would find very useful, because then I would be able to use this instead of my cell phone to do some of the messaging. But all in all, my opinion of this is, again, the build quality isn't as good, but the trade-offs are there. The sound is really full and loud, which is what I'm looking for out of a device. That way, you don't have to kind of strain yourself hearing what's going on. The screen is fine for what I need. The touch screen part of it is very responsive, and the fact that you can run Android apps on this that I could not run on my previous Chromebook is a definite plus as well. The only other thing about this that's worth mentioning is that I find that it's pretty much a lateral move power-wise as it was with my previous Chromebook, which is interesting because that Chromebook is at least 5 years old, if not more, at this time. So, there's no improvement in speed with this device. It's pretty much the same. If you're somebody who goes and surfs the internet and has goes to sites that are very heavy on advertisements, where they have all the pop-ups and all that stuff, and you open up several of those tabs, you might, choke this down. When I surf the internet and I go to a news site, typically I'll right-click and open up an article in a new tab, and then go back to the original, and then go through it that way. That way, I open up all the tabs and then go through all the stories I want to. And I find when I have, if it's an ad-heavy site and you have several tabs open, you can, choke this device. But I don't find that it's slow in any way. I think for a Chromebook, you need to have 4 gigs of RAM, and that is table stakes. You cannot have a Chromebook with less than 4 gigs of RAM. I would like to have a much more powerful Chromebook, but at this stage in the game, I'm not somebody who is willing to shell out the money for it. Because for me, a Chromebook primarily is a web surfing device. It's nice to have the ability to run some Android apps on here, so that's good. But it's not something that I would expect high performance out of. I do have a gaming laptop and I have another laptop, so I'm not laptop poor in this situation. So the Chromebook is something that I do some, web surfing on, and I pay my bills on it. So, because I find it's, you don't have to worry about security with a Chromebook. So, for that purpose, this device is sufficient. This device is really everything I'm looking for. The only thing I wish it was maybe a little bit more of a noticeable change in power between the Chromebook that I previously had and this one. However, the performance of the previous Chromebook is not such that it was something that was unusable. You can get some devices these days that you just, you don't want to use them. And I find that's the case with a lot of tablets. They're just, I always like the idea of using a tablet, but it always kind of makes me yearn for something that's more full-featured. So I don't find that with this device. I find that it does what it needs to do. It would be nice to have a little more power under the belt, but for what I paid for it, I'm very happy with the purchase here. So that's going to do it for this video. If you have any questions or comments, please post them down below. If you like what you see, please subscribe. And if you want to help out this channel, just share this video. You can join my Patreon. I'd like to do more videos here coming forward, going towards the end of the year, because I want to put a little more focus on this channel. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.